broadcast?
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Profitable Recruiter webinar for August. I can't even believe that we're right on the cusp of September already, but we're excited that you're here. Isn't that crazy, Judy?
I can't believe it.
We are here today with Coach Judy LaDeur. Judy, I'm very excited about today's topic. It's something that we're getting a lot of questions about right now, and that's the disruptors in the marketplace. We talked some about it last month, and it is, I'm assuming, going to be the buzzword for quite some time in our industry. So today you're going to be talking about proving value. Is that right?
Exactly right. Yeah, that's the key.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to let you take it away, and we'll take questions at the end. There's a Q&A panel on your control panel there. You can simply type your questions to us, and we will get to as many as possible. And Judy, I'm going to let you get started.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Here we are. We're all set. So thanks, Julie. And yes, it is. It's the buzzword of today. And quite honestly, I think sometimes the thing that has so many brokers concerned maybe or confused in some cases, it's kind of like there's so much coming at them so fast that that's really, what's causing more disruption than anything. It's like, wait, who's that? What's this? And, and wait, this person's coming into my marketplace, and geez, this hasn't really happened before. And so, I think it's good for us to be talking about it. But the most important thing to remember is that no matter what's happening in your marketplace, if you can continue to prove value not only to your own agents, which is important from retention, but to the recruits that you're talking to, my belief, and from what we've seen over the last few months, is that the majority of agents, are, pretty firmly embedded with their brokers. I mean, they're, they love their brokers, they love the company. They just want to be supported in a way in which they can continue to do what they do best, which is list and sell real estate. And certainly there's more options available to agents than ever before. There's more options available to consumers. And there's certainly a lot of changes happening. But I've always been of the belief that the best thing you could do is stay focused on your firm, what is that you do best, not try to look at everyone else, and don't try to compete with everyone else. Just be the best that you could be at what you are. And so that's kind of our opening slide, is that, the value of what you have to offer really has never been more important than now. Mm-hmm. And I think, when the market's strong, Julie, and everybody's making money and houses are selling and, listings are flying off the market, and buyers are, begging us to find houses, but we don't really focus a lot on that value that we bring to the agent and the consumer, because everything's just like, everything's going great.
Right.
It's only when there is a disruption, and the disruption could happen in a lot of different ways. Back in 79, the disruption was interest rates shooting to 23%. Sometimes the disruption is suddenly nothing is selling and property values are diving, and everything's getting foreclosed. I mean, disruptions happen all the time in our industry, and not everyone makes it through that time. But what disruptions do is it does force us to come back and really just take a look at the value of what we have to offer. And so I think we are at one of those times right now. The value of what you have to offer has never been more important than now. And if you don't have enough value for the agents that you have, or the agents you're looking to recruit, now is also the time to take a look at that. And maybe there's some changes that you need to make, or some things you need to add. So you first take a look at, what is it that we have that's going to be attractive during this period of time. And then the second thing is your ability to present it in a way that communicates value to the agent and their business, because that's equally important. Sure. And Julie, you and I both have spoken to a lot of companies that have a lot of great stuff to offer, and they still have they're still challenged with recruiting. And if you look on the surface, you would think, well, why would you have a hard time recruiting if you have all that stuff? But if you don't know how to present it in such a way that the agent sees the value of what you have to offer, and they want to join your team because of it, or the existing agents you have, don't see the value, then it doesn't really matter. So that's what we want to really talk about, is your ability to present what you have of value today for our brokers, to help them not only recruit the agents they want, but to retain the agents that you have. And the one thing that I'll say about retention before we move forward is this: if your agents are not, let me put it this way instead, if the success of your agents is not tied to your company, your tools, and your systems, then you are in danger of losing that agent.
Oh, we need to stitch that on a pillow.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, when you think about it, it always scares me when brokers say, well, I've got this agent, and this is a top producing agent I have, but I never see him. They work from home. They got their own team, they got their own assistant, they got their own marketing, they do everything. They don't really need anything from me. I'm thinking, geez, that is a very scary scenario, because if they don't need anything from you, one day they just might wake up and think, geez, like, why am I even paying you?
Exactly.
Here. So anytime an agent's success can be tied back to you, your tools, your systems, your marketing support, your location, whatever it is, your brand, you have a much better chance of keeping that agent, because they recognize that value. I think we might have reviewed this a little bit last month, but I want to just kind of go over it real quickly again, because the majority of brokers that are contacting us, and both Julie and I, are focused on the disruptors on the left. Mm-hmm. They're calling us saying, hey, I need help. I got Compass. They're offering my agents money, and I can't compete. And how do I compete against that? And they've got this big new shiny sign, and now my agents want me to have that, and we don't have it. And what do I do? And then there's all the discount brokers that, the consumers are suddenly becoming aware of the fact that they can list their house for $1,299, and they don't need an agent to do it. Consumers are also, becoming aware in a lot of our marketplaces that, hey, you know what? I don't even have to go through the grief of selling my house. I can just go with an instant offer, and that's going to be easier, and I don't have to do anything. And that does sound attractive. Hey, I'm a homeowner. I guess if I were, if I had a lot to do to clean up my house, and a lot of work, and I was really busy, and someone said to me, hey, you know what? Why don't you call up Open Door or Zillow or OfferPad and see what they'll give you? I might be tempted to do that. And so I think what's happening is, as agents hear consumers talking about, can I get this instant offer? Or, geez, I got a company that'll list my house for $1,299, or you get EXP, and which is, a lot of people talk about that disruptor today, of saying to the agents, do you have a retirement strategy? Because that's their compelling reason to join them. Yeah, it's called, look, you don't need bricks and mortar. Like, you can do everything virtual. We're going to give you stock options, bring other people in. You have this great retirement strategy. That's a hot button for agents today, the retirement strategy.
Sure.
Next time, their strategy is going after teams. Hey, operate your team from our platform. So these are all new business models that definitely are reaching out to agents and reaching out to consumers saying, we've got a better option for you. But the reality is, the majority of our the large companies, our large independents, the brands, they've been around for a long time. There's a lot of history there. They've got a lot of things going for them that none of the new startups have, but would like to have. And so that's why I say, don't worry too much about those disruptors, okay? Because if you've got a solid business model, just do what needs to be done to continue moving forward, in the right direction there. What I see as the real disruptors in the industry right now is not the companies, but really it's private funding and new technology. Because, we've only seen this one other time in our industry, to where millions and billions of dollars were being flooded in. And in the past, it's only been to maybe one company with billions of dollars to play with. We haven't seen startup companies that have, $1 billion of what I call monopoly money. Basically just private investors saying, hey, here's $300 million. See what you can set up for me. Like, that would be fun for any of us. Heck, give me $1 billion and tell me to set up a real estate company, do whatever I want. I'm going to have some fun with it too. So, really?
I can spend $1 billion.
Yeah, everybody wants that, right? I can make a pretty impressive company too for $1 billion. So, we've never really had this kind of money flowing in this rapidly to startup companies that are completely unknown, different models than we've ever seen in the past. That's the disruptor. And the new technology, which is coming at a rapid speed as well, is a disruptor being funded by private funding. Okay, so here's the thing: we've seen a lot of people on stage this year. A lot of the big real estate companies are all announcing the same thing. We've got a whole new platform. We're spending $1 billion on our platform. We're spending $1 billion on new technology. Okay, why are all the companies doing that this year? It's because they're doing what they need to compete, which is the right move. But it was driven initially by a lot of other startup companies that have these millions of dollars to buy really good tech people and really good technology. Now, once it gets created on the other end, it's forced our industry really to raise our standard with regard to the technology that we're going to be using, or that can be used for securing more listings and working with the consumer. So we're going to go through some huge changes this year and next year. We're going to have a lot of new technology, because once something gets created by one person, it will get recreated by everyone else to compete. So that's why what we're seeing right now is, even though a lot of companies aren't happy about it, a lot of brokers aren't happy about it, a lot of people are saying, I'm being forced to spend a lot of money that I wouldn't otherwise have had to spend. Well, that's exactly true. See, that is what a disruptor is. So this year, private funding and a lot of startup companies have disrupted our marketplace really in such a way that says, hey, you know what? It's time to upgrade and update our technology. Time to be a little bit more transparent with the consumer. Time to let the consumer be a little bit more engaged or involved in this process. Time to let the consumer, have some choices. And, again, a lot of the consumers are going to want that. You can't bury head in the sand and say it won't work. I mean, there's a lot of young people out there that feel really comfortable with technology, and, a percentage of the business is going to go that way. Compass has a digital sign. When you think about it, our industry has never, ever, ever had anything other than, just our basic hang up or place in the ground signs. No one's ever really thought about illuminating them or using technology to send messages to consumers as they drive past. Right. Is it a bad thing? Not really. It's an expensive thing right now, as everything is. When you buy you get your iPhone updated, you have to pay $800 for the darn thing, but in 2 years you can buy it for $200. So everything that's new is expensive. But I see a lot of these things that we're going to see popping up in the way of technology. Those costs are going to come down. It's going to be more just the common way that we do business. But right now it's coming at brokers really, really fast, and it's coming at agents fast, and it's coming at consumers fast, and it's feeling uncomfortable. But I predict in a couple of years from now, it'll actually be the new norm. Any thoughts on that, Julie?
I'm just amazed. I mean, I think that changing mindset is step one, right? We've got to get out of, oh, that's wrong, or it's different, or it's scary, and to how do we shift things mode.
Right, absolutely. And we've got some clients that we work with, and I've been reaching out to them independently to say, good for you, because I've got brokers that are number one in the marketplace, and highly successful brokers right now, mm-hmm. that are investing $100,000 and $200,000 into being even better. Better equipped to compete, which is why they are number one in the marketplace. So, it doesn't matter where they're at on the spectrum of dominant in the marketplace or what do I need to do to get to that point. The smart brokers out there realize that this isn't going away. Okay, we've got some new technology; it's here to stay, and we've got some new competitors that are here for now. They may stay, they may not. No one can know. I think a lot of that depends on the market. But if our market continues strong, and there was an article just released a couple of days ago, I think it probably came out in Inman, but They said that when they surveyed all of the people that basically predict what's going to be happening in the real estate market, when we take a look at all of them, more than 75% of them are currently saying that this market's going to stay really strong until at least 2020. Now, that's a great thing. Okay, we're going to have a strong real estate market, so we all can make money. But here's the downside to that. Okay, anytime you have a startup company, and this goes 20 years into the past as well. Startup companies can start up easier in a strong market, and startup companies can survive easier in a strong market. But if you have a startup company, the market takes a dive right after that startup company starts, then typically you're going to see that startup company not necessarily go away, but you're not going to hear much about them until the market takes it gets strong again. Many of the companies that are listed here on the left-hand side have been around for a while. Okay, they've been around 8 years, 10 years. So it's not like these are brand new companies. Why did they emerge? Because the market's been strong. And again, that private funding is there because the market's strong. The new technology here because funding is there because the market's strong. So if we truly have at least 2 more years of a really, really strong market ahead of us, then we're not going to see much change in the way of what brokers are looking at as disruptors in the marketplace today. But in 2 years from today, they will not be the disruptors. They will be the norm, and other disruptions will occur. But as for me, I like strong real estate markets, so I'd rather adjust and keep the market strong than the market to the dive, so that we can get rid of some of the disruptors that we don't like right now. But that's just me personally. So what does this mean for the modern brokerage? It really means change. Okay, for the last 25, 30 years I've been working with brokers. I honestly can't remember too many times, Julie, where I have from the stage said to everyone, you have to change. Most of the time they don't, but most of the time it's like, look, don't worry about this or don't worry about that. But this is one of those times where, as I said, the technology's here to stay. It's advancing rapidly. Brokers will have to invest in that. And according to the 2018, this year's mobile usage report by NAR, agents say that their mobile device is their most important thing, and 85% of agents say that they want to do business from their mobile device. That means they want to control the transaction from their mobile device. They want to control their showings from it. They want to control their business plan from it. That mobile device is what agents want to use, and that's where you're going to see a lot of the technology focused in on keeping the agent mobile, letting them basically manage their entire business in the palm of their hand.
It's wild to think about, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, especially when I saw fax machines come in to the industry and couldn't imagine how that worked. So, we've seen a lot of changes in the industry, but we're going to see them I think we're going to see them happen faster now, because just in general, technology in every industry is really making a huge difference. I don't know if you've had a chance, Julie, to listen to any of the futurists that are out there talking right now, but that's very interesting. When someone first told me that I should go hear this one futurist talk, I was thinking, futurist, what do they talk about? It sounded more like a psychic, right? But to listen to the research that they're doing and the different industries that they are tracking today. I mean, the food industry, the medical industry, how drugs are dispensed, how food is served. Every industry out there right now is also going through a lot of changes, and there's a lot of industries being changed right now, and technology is the driver to that. So that's the driver. It's driving it all. So how do we support brokers right now? Well, first off, the basics of recruiting never change. Okay, that is the one thing that's not going to change. We are in a people business, and we're in a relationship business. So what that means is that recruiting is about building relationships and maintaining relationships and creating value in your presentation. And that's really going to be the key to recruiting agents without buying them. And that is the big question on the table that you and I keep hearing is, how do we recruit, against someone who's buying agents? And quite honestly, for some of our brokers that are fairly new at this, I will tell you that there have always been opportunities for agents to get checks and sign-on bonuses. Going all the way back to the 1980s, when I was a manager, there were companies in the marketplace at that time giving sign-on bonuses to agents. So we've always had that. It's never been that effective. In fact, I'll say this: if writing a check was all it took to get an agent, okay, Compass would have a lot more agents right now. Okay, we have no way of knowing how many agents have been offered the check that turned it down, but I do know personally that a lot of my clients who have agents that are just turning down the checks, and the checks are $50,000, $100,000, when they call me because they're excited that their agent has decided to stay with them and not move to a company that's offered them a check, I know that it's like every agent's not going to go for that check. But right. Agents that have taken the checks, here's what we found. Every agent that I know of that has taken the check that I've reached out to has had one thing in common. They've all said, look, I was unhappy with my company already. The company I was with was not providing a lot of value, and I was already looking. So for a company, and it's not just Compass, so there's other companies doing it, so we won't pick on them. And there's other companies right now talking about it, okay? So you've got some other companies that are going to jump on that bandwagon because everybody, a lot of these companies have people running them that do not have a real estate background. And because they don't have a real estate background, they're business people, they tend to think logically. And it's very easy to fall into that trap of thinking, hey, you know what, if I want someone, I wave a big check in front of them, the odds are pretty good that they're going to take it. But the reality is in our industry, 80% of the time, I don't think they're going to take the check if they have a good, solid relationship with the broker and they see value in that brokerage. So if every agent that is turning down the check right now is telling me, look, you know what, I was leaving anyways. So for a company to say to me, we'll give you $100,000 to come over here for 2 or 3 years and see what you think. And if you don't like it, you can leave. Sure, why not take the money? And I probably would too. I mean, if you're leaving anyways and they've got something of value, sure, it's just, you got to go somewhere, so why not try it out for 2 or 3 years? And I think that's really another thing that the brokers have to take a look at is, will the agents stay? We don't know. Depends on the company. So regardless of who it is, if you write a check to bring them in, okay, so now they're inside your organization, then the moment you get foot inside your organization, then your job is to find and create enough value for that agent to choose to stay at the end of that contract term. Now, the companies that will do that will be the winners, okay? The companies that simply think that those agents after 2 years or 3 years will stay if they don't see the value of that organization are in for a rude awakening down the road. So who knows, okay, and what will happen there. But what we do know is that the majority of brokers in the marketplace are not positioned to give sign-on checks to agents that they want to recruit. So they have to rely on the value of what they bring to the table. So that's what we want to do, is we want to help those brokers to say, look, how do I bring them in based on what I have in the way of valuable resources? So the question to ask yourself as a broker is, what valuable resources do you have for today's agent and today's consumer? Now, if we just stop right there, some of you are perfectly positioned. I was working with a company the last couple of days, an amazing company, and they have made incredible investments into their organization to attract the best agents in the marketplace. They're doing a great job of it without writing a check. But I've also talked to some brokers recently who tell me who they want to attract and what they're not willing to do. For example, a lot of brokers out there are trying to attract the millennial agents. They want young agents. They want that new blood because they've got a lot of agents that are going to be retiring over the next 5 years. When I ask this question, is your office set up for that millennial agent? Do you have the layout and the structure that they want? Do you have the resources that they want? In most cases, the answer is no. So when I say to them, then are you willing to make those investments to attract those agents? In many cases, the answer is still no. Okay. Why is the answer still no? Because for many of our brokers out there, they have, they have owners that have been very, very successful for the past 20, 30 years. And they've run their business the same way for 20 or 30 years. They've always made money. It's always been successful. And I guess I understand a little bit where their mindset's at, meaning like I've always been successful and I've never had to make any major changes. So why do I have to make them now? The truth is you don't have to make them now. But what you might be faced with is that some of the agents that you want to recruit, that's gonna be a challenge. I have companies out there that tell me, well, I've decided I'm going to go after the teams. So I say, that's great. I love teams. Are you positioned for teams? Do you have the resources that team leaders need for their teams? Do you have the facility that team leaders need? If not, you have to do that first if you want to get those team leaders. I have companies out there saying, well, we've decided we're going to focus in on the luxury market. We're going to go after luxury agents because then they bring in big listings. Well, that's great. So if you're talking to a luxury agent, do you have the resources that luxury agent needs to market their luxury properties? If you don't have the resources, you're not going to recruit the agents. So it's not really that difficult. It simply means that once you've identified who you would like to go after, who's your target audience, do you have the resources in place to recruit those agents in? And if not, you have two choices. Either one, choose a different audience, or two, make some investments into your organization today that will position you to bring the agents in that you want. Okay, so that's the first thing brokers need to do. Next is you have to go up 3 levels in today's competitive market to show enough value.
Okay.
Now, this is new terminology. I'm not even sure you've heard this one yet, Julie. And so we'll just what does that mean, right? Well, terminology that everyone is familiar with is ROI, meaning what's the return on investment when someone comes to work in your firm. It's a really important concept in recruiting, but something that brokers have had a really tough time putting into words when they sit in front of the recruit. What's the value that you're going to experience? So I decided to change up the terminology and change up the concept and use some visuals and help brokers easily see the level of value that they really need to be bringing into the marketplace. So we're going to show you kind of a pyramid here, and at the bottom it says everyone has it. Okay, what does that mean? Obviously, the bottom of the pyramid is larger for a reason, because everyone at the bottom has what I call level 1 value. Level 1 value are the basic things that most real estate companies have in place to simply stay in business, okay? Regardless of how they have it. For the most part, everyone out there right now has some form of education or training. It could be virtual, could be online, could be in-house, whatever it's going to be. Everybody's going to have some sort of marketing support, even if it's simply hanging door hangers on a door. I mean, brokerages have to have a way to give their agents access to marketing support. So everyone's going to have it. Everyone is going to say they have broker support. Now, there's a lot of different types of broker support that are out there right now, but everyone's going to have it. With the internet, everybody is going to have leads, okay? That used to be something that, only the best companies had, but, if you don't have any leads coming in from the internet right now, then, then that's a huge problem, because leads are everywhere. You can buy leads, you can get leads, you can position yourself for leads. Office location, everyone's going to have one. Could be physical, could be virtual. If you have a virtual office, you have to be able to explain why that's better. And if you have a physical office, you have to be able to explain why that's better. So your ability to show, this is why I have it this way, and it's better. Everyone has a name, okay? Some brands are stronger than others, some have more market share, but everyone's got a name. Everyone's going to say they have great agents. because you're not going to tell a recruit that you don't. And everyone's going to say they have great admin support. So if someone's out interviewing with 4 different companies, I can absolutely guarantee you that all 4 companies are going to say, we got it. Right?
Right.
And there's more stuff that they're going to say they have. I don't think that's enough to compete in today's market. I think that today's agents are a little bit more savvy. I even think that the consumers are way more educated and more savvy. So I don't think the level 1 value is enough if you're really looking to compete. I think you have to go to that differentiation that says we are different and only the best have this. Okay, so that moves up now. Fewer people have the best. Okay, but here's what that means. Level 2 value is where you've taken the basics and you've expanded to make it better. If I were presenting to a recruit, I would say to them, look, you know what? Everyone in the marketplace has some sort of education or training. Your company does. Any company that you're talking to does. But we've taken it up a level. Okay. So what we have is, now it could be that you have in-house training. You could have a full-time training director. You could have someone who's coaching your agent, someone who's mentoring your agent. So that's better than just education and training. For marketing support, if I'm a broker competing against 3 or 4 companies in the marketplace who basically all have just online marketing support, but I have a marketing director where I have marketing that's basically done for the agents, they just choose it, it goes out automatically every month for them, then I'm going to say to those agents, look, everyone has marketing materials, okay? Because you can't be in business today without it. But here's what we've discovered. Agents are too busy to worry about the marketing. Agents need to have it done for them. Agents need someone they can sit down face to face with and say, here's what I want to accomplish through my marketing strategy. Can you help me out? They need marketing experts. And so that's why we've invested in our marketing director. And here's the things that they're going to do for you. So that's way better than just we have marketing support. Broker support. If I think, honestly, it's just my opinion, not everyone agrees with me. I think having a broker, yeah, yeah, because like no one's ever going to agree with everything you say. But for me, if I, I've been a broker myself for 40 years. I've been an agent for 42. I mean, when I look back, and I work with agents, and I work with brokers, I work with companies. I truly, in my heart, believe that the majority of agents have some comfort knowing that the broker that they can ask advice of and the broker they can go to when they need it is a real life person that's in that brokerage or on site, someone that they have a relationship with and that they trust. Now, that's one of the disruptors in the marketplace right now. We have companies that say, we have one broker for the state of Kentucky. We have a broker for the state of Illinois, and it's online, and we have a little chat with the broker. I don't even like chat when it comes to like fixing my computer. I'm the person that picks up the phone and goes, look, I just need to talk to someone, okay? And I need to know that they know what they're doing, okay? So I don't know who this chat person is or where they're at. So there's a lot of agents that are going to feel that way. It's like, I need a broker I can see who's available, who's knowledgeable. But if I am the company that has that, I'm absolutely going to present it in such a way that that agent sees value in having me there on site and what my availability is and my knowledge is for them. And that's going to resonate with a lot of agents, as simple as it is. Leads. Everyone's got leads, right? But right now we have a lot of companies out there that are getting really creative. There's a great broker that I coach down in Tennessee that they control all the leads coming in, which is very smart of that broker. The reason they control all the leads coming in is because agents blow leads left and right, and every broker out there knows that.
Right.
More than 50% of all leads coming in don't even get responded to, and there's a million surveys to back that up. Why? Because agents are busy, and if they contact that lead and they're ready to do something right away, they're on it. But following up for 6 months on leads on the internet they've never met, they're really bad at that. So for the companies right now that have someone that connects with all those leads, they're pre-qualifying those leads, they're learning things about what they want, they're incubating them, they're keeping things of value in front of them, and then they're placing them with an agent when they're ready to convert. Those brokers are seeing amazing results from leads. So if I'm talking to an agent and I have that, I'm going to ask them, so what's the quality of the leads and how many are converting, and how much time does it take to follow up with them? And I'm going to use that to my advantage to say, well, here's how we do it. Okay. And here's the results that our agents have. And, our agents love leads. Why? Because they're ready to buy or sell when we hand it to them. So that's better. Office locations, it could be physical or virtual, okay? But regardless, I saw an interesting comment was made by one of the CEOs of one of the virtual companies right now. And I always like to hear how other companies position their compelling reasons to join, okay? Because if you don't know how to sell what you have, you're not going to make it regardless of what type of an office you have. And here was their comment. Their comment was, virtual offices are better. When agents work in virtual offices and they don't have walls that confine them, or they don't have neighborhoods that confine them, then a virtual office gives agents basically the world is at their disposal. And that's how they sell it. Like, if you work in Lexington, Kentucky, okay, an office in Lexington, Kentucky, for the most part, you're going to see yourself as being a Lexington, Kentucky agent. But if you're a virtual agent in Kentucky and maybe you don't see yourself as a Lexington agent, you see yourself as a Kentucky agent. So, regardless of what type of an office location you have, the key is, do you know how to spend it as it's going to be better? If I have a physical office that has a lot of walk-in traffic or great exposure or whatever that's going to be, that I can show this is why this is better for you, that's better than just saying we got a great location, because everyone's going to say they got one. I had a broker that came to one of our events, and they were trying to determine the value of what they had to offer, and they mentioned their location, which is in downtown Chicago, close to Cubs Park.
Mm-hmm.
Great broker. And he had written down that they have 20 walk-ins a week. I said, we have 20 walk-ins a week? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, holy cow, how many of them buy? He goes, a lot of them. I'm like,
wow,
that's really valuable. That's great. I'm like, are you telling agents about that? He goes, no, I didn't really think of it as being all that valuable.
what do you think now?
Yeah, right. I can assure you that there's very few brokers in the country that can say they have 20 walk-ins a week of people that are actually buying. Like, that is amazing, So sometimes you have to kind of look and say, how does this compare to everybody else? And is it better? Okay, so that was better. With your brand, and there's no doubt that anytime that you can be number one or one of the best at anything, it's going to attract some people. But what if you're not? Okay, so let's flip to the opposite. We have a lot of brokers that come to us for help and support because they're just getting started, and their name isn't very strong yet, and their market share isn't very strong yet. They aren't very well known yet. Okay, so what's the benefit to them? If I just play the opposite game here for a minute, then if you only have 2 agents, then all of your attention goes to just 2 agents, and that's way better than spreading it around 100, okay? So if you're small and you're just getting started, it's the same thing. What can you do better because you're small? So don't think in terms of it always has to be big, because maybe you can personally coach and mentor those agents, double or triple their income in a year. And it's because we are small, we can do things that some of the companies that are big can't. Obviously, I think the companies that have worked hard to increase their market share, become number one in the marketplace, and I'm blessed to work with so many companies like that, it is easier for agents to get listings when there's 1,000 signs in the marketplace. There's a lot of competition among agents, and a lot of the best agents are drawn to companies that can have a strong name, a strong brand, strong market presence, because it allows the consumer to feel good about choosing that agent who's with a specific company or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not every agent's going to think that's important, but again, what we're talking about here is if you're the broker that has that strong name, that strong brand, that strong market share, then that's better. You've got to show some numbers. You got to be able to prove it's better to be big. But if you're small, then it's better to be small, and here's why. So it doesn't matter what that is. So I always like to show the opposite on that, because we have so many brokers that are trying to get started. Every company that you recruit with will say we have great agents. Okay, so you take any agent, you haven't talked to 4 brokers, they'll say we have a great company here with great agents, we've got great admin people. because you can't say you don't.
Right.
But what's better is, can you prove it? So if my agents are out producing the competition 2-to-1, or we have the reputation of being the company in town that the best agents gravitate to, then that's better, because that offers up proof that, sure, we got great people working for us, but due to the support that we give them, they're able to list and sell more effectively than other agents in the marketplace. Same thing with admin support. Now, this is an area we're going to see a lot of changes in, Julie, too.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is, and it's time, okay? And I'm really glad for this change. Sales agents do one thing really well. What do they do well? They
What
list
is
and
it?
sell real estate.
Right.
Yeah, right. That's what they do, right? So the best agents don't want to do anything else. They really don't. But we've all had to, input our listings and take our photographs, and all that's changed. So we've seen that changing over the last 5 to 10 years. It went from taking our photographs to hiring someone to take the photograph to the company has the photographer to take the photographs. It's gone from we input the listings and try to type it in and get it right to the secretary does it to, full-time person to input listings. We've gone from managing the transaction to transaction coordinators. We've slowly taken stuff off the plates of agents, and each company does different things. But this is what technology is going to do for companies over the next few years. Is there's going to be a lot less work done by the agents and a lot more pressure placed on the companies to remove stuff from their plate so they can focus on doing what they do best, which is listing and selling real estate. That's why so many of our teams have the transaction coordinator on the team. They've got a stager on their team. They've got a photographer on their team. They've got an admin person on their team. Like, the top teams out there have built basically mini companies within their team.
Exactly.
Meaning, look, yeah, I'm the team leader. Okay, this is what I do. I'm the rainmaker. I'm going to generate all the business. I need 4 buyers agents taking all these buyers out. I need 2 listing, agents that are going to help me get these listings done. I need a photographer working. I need a stager working. I need all these people working, and then they make $1 million a year in income because they're smart enough to put together a team that does what they don't feel like doing. So this has been one of my messages to brokers. Is this is going to be a big thing in the next few years, and this is what a lot of those companies that are being referred to as the disruptors are doing. They're making it easier for the agents, easier for the agents to communicate what's going on with the consumer, giving them tools that the consumer's going to love too. So I see some big changes here, and I think it's smart for the brokers that are doing it. So what is level 3, right? Because if you're not going to level 3, it's not enough. So even this is better than just tell them what you got. Like, do it better than others, but the next level is actually the most important. What do you think that's going to be?
Dun, dun, dun. Drum roll, please.
Yeah, so can you prove it? Okay. These are salespeople. They know you're trying to recruit them. Okay. But can you offer up the proof that you have tools and resources that are better than just everyone else? How do you prove it? So we take the same list that we've been working with. You prove it by looking at the results that your agents have from the stuff that you have. Now, here's the thing about that is I work with brokers every single week, and the first thing I tell them is I need some results. I need some testimonials. And 9.9 out of 10 brokers that I work with, meaning almost no one, can give me the evidence or the proof when we first start working together. So that is the first thing that I do when I'm working with someone is I say, look, we need evidence, because everyone wants, this is one of my sayings, everyone wants what someone else has already accomplished. And that's true for anything in life. If you're checking out at the grocery store and the magazine says lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks by doing nothing, We all want to believe that's true. So they'll buy the magazine just to see, oh, wait, there must be a new way to lose 10 pounds quickly in 2 weeks, and I don't have to change
Where is
what
that
I'm doing.
magic wand?
Where is that magic bullet, right? We've got athletes, really you know, some of our best athletes in the world. They're on stage telling their stories, which are stories that everybody can resonate with and relate to. And it's like, look, you can do what I did because I started where you're at. You've got all the stories of people that were living on the streets, the homeless people that went to Harvard and Yale, and so whatever it is, when you're looking for something and someone else has already accomplished it, then you want to know what that is so that you can have that same result. And that is a really powerful tool for brokers to use in recruiting, meaning if your agents are picking up an additional 6 listings because you've got a coach or a mentor there that's working with them to look for additional business opportunities that they didn't have before, and the average commission is just $5,000, there's $30,000 you can put in their pocket because you've got a coach that knows how to find some opportunities that others don't. So now when I'm recruiting, it's everyone's got the education training. We've gone one step farther, but here's why. Because if ever one of our agents can pull up, get another 6 listings a year because we've got an amazing coach that knows how to look at their business and find out where those listings are at, then that means I can put $30,000 more in the bank account of every agent that I have, and I want to put that $30,000 in your bank account too. That agent wants that $30,000. They want those 6 listings, and I've already shown that we know how to do it, so they'll join for something as simple as that. If I'm recruiting someone and I'm talking about, everyone has marketing support, but you know what? Agents don't do their own marketing. They shouldn't do their own marketing because they aren't marketing people, they're salespeople. So we have a director, okay? Now, our sales director is amazing. So let me show you, for the agents that have signed up for our Done For You marketing, here's all the results of those people that are on that program. As you can see here, they have a minimum of 12 additional sales per year because they are always positioned in front of their client database. So again, 100 grand in additional income because we took the time to put a person in place to do it for you. Okay, that will recruit agents and that will retain agents as long as your agents use it. If I can show that agents can keep sales together because I'm knowledgeable enough to jump in there and help keep things together through a variety of methods, then there's value in having me online. Or if I can show that our leads are more qualified and pre-qualified and they're incubated until they're ready to come to them, and it's going to give them 4 per year. Like, they want those leads, so they have to join to get them, or they have to stay if they like getting them. If they only have 2 more transactions a year because I've got a greater exposure or more walk-in traffic because of my office location, then again, it's another 10 grand there. Or if my agents will confirm for me that at least 4 times a year, our brand, our market share, our reputation, the fact that we're a specialist, so we're going to see a lot of that too. We specialize in something, can put 4 more transactions a year in their pocket. They want that. So everything that you have should be at level 2, not level 1, but you have to go to the 3rd level and prove it if you want to recruit those agents, and you have to use visuals. And that's why Julie, you did such an amazing job in creating these visuals for us this year. And I went to Julie in, January, February, and I said, look, Julie, the brokers have to be able to prove the value of what they have. And unless that proof is on that visual, they're not gonna talk about it, and they're not gonna use it. Let's create the visuals that do that. And that's what Julie did. And so we're going to show you some of those. If you are a profitable recruiter member, those tools are in your toolbox on the site. And we created those for you this year so that you can use them in your recruiting. Agents do not only remember more of what they see, but you know what visuals offer? They offer proof that everything that you're saying is true.
It validates it, sure.
Validates, right. So, if I'm just talking to an agent, I'm like, hey, listen, our agents will get like 6 more listings a year, and it's just popping out of my mouth. If there's nothing in writing, most agents are going to think maybe, maybe not, I'm trying to recruit them. But if I've got a visual that I use with each person, and it's got testimonies of agents that work there that they can check with because the names are right there, and that evidence is there, then that's what makes it believable. So you have to use your visuals, and that is why we created them for you. And before we show you the visuals, let me address the check, which is how many brokers have we had that have called us about the check? Oh gosh. Don't be afraid of the check, like educate your agents about it. We have brokers that are calling us up telling us, hey, my agent just got offered $50,000 at lunch, and they came back to us and said they laughed at the person and said they were somewhat insulted. That was only $50,000, but they didn't take it. Why? Because their broker already had educated them as to what the check means, and whether you're recruiting against it or you're trying to retain against it. A sign-on bonus is simply this. You just take the bonus divided by the number of years, and then divide the amount per year and divide it by the average commission. For example, if there was a $45,000 bonus, but the agent has to stay for 3 years, really what the agent's been offered is a $15,000 a year sign-on bonus, because you got to stay 3 years to get it.
Mm-hmm.
And if that $7,500 is the average commission, really here's what that company's saying. We want you to join us. Now, we don't necessarily have a lot of the tools or resources that you might have there, but you know what? We can give you $45,000 to join us. And some of them do have tools and resources. So, again, the smart ones do, because you're going to have it to keep them. But really what it boils down to is if my agent is looking at a company that's going to give $45,000 to stay for 3 years, I'm going to boil it down for them and say, so here's what they're telling you. They are giving you 2 free sales a year for 3 years, and then what? Then nothing. Okay. So I want you to think back over the past year. So if we, kind of go back to the value here that we talked about. Remember I said in the very beginning, when their success in their business is tied to you, you're not going to lose them. If I know that agent, through working with my coach, has had 6 more listings, or if I know that they're doing a marketing program that's done for marketing that gives them 12 sales, and they're not going to do the marketing without it, if I know any of those things, then what happens is I simply sit there and say, so let's take any one of the things that I know that you're using here. It creates value for you. And here's what you're doing. You're taking a 2-deal a year offer and taking a chance that you lose 12 a year because no one's going to do your marketing for you.
Exactly.
Or you're going to lose 6 a year because you don't have a coach that's helping with your business plan and hold you accountable to it. So if they don't use your stuff, they're going to take the check. But if their success is tied to your company and what you're doing, then when you break it all down, the check doesn't look as good. And quite honestly, only the best agents are getting the big checks anyways. And the best agents usually are doing a lot of stuff that they should be doing and utilizing a lot of services. So, the agents that are not doing any business are not getting the big checks. We don't have to worry about that. And just kind of goes back to what I said. What I always say is that in the absence of value, money always does become a substitute. And that means that in the absence of value means this: if your current agents don't see the value in what you're offering them, money looks attractive. And that's what every agent I talked to said, that their company was bringing no value to them, so they took the money. If you're recruiting an agent and they don't see the value in what you're offering, they are going to want you to pay them more. And that's why so many brokers get stuck at the end when it comes to compensation of playing let's make a deal with your splits and your cost and your caps and everything else, because that just means the agent didn't see enough value in the presentation. So it has to, it becomes about money.
I love it.
And
I think that's something that so many brokers have missed, the breakdown of value for tools. So are presenting, if we've got this marketing that's done for you, that, that can give you at least 2 or 3, just like you did. How many more deals are you going to get per year because we are providing these tools to you? When brokers get that, and not just get it, but they're able to communicate that, that's where the magic happens.
Yeah. Really, Julie, here's what's happened. Here's what the disruptors in today's marketplace are doing. Every broker has to be, brokers are up in their game. Brokers have to be, on top of this stuff. Brokers are really taking a close look at what they have to offer. They're just reevaluating everything. And again, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing for brokers. It's a wake-up call for brokers that said, hey, you know what? You got to make sure that your agents are using your stuff. You got to make sure that they see that what you're offering is really important. Because if you're not, yeah, you're definitely going to lose some agents. But bottom line, and I've shared this with all the brokers I've talked to, most agents still place more value on the relationship than the check. And most consumers place more value on working with an agent that they trust and know than doing it all themselves online. Okay. So I don't see that changing, honestly, for the immediate future. I think that the majority of consumers will want to work with agents. I think the majority of agents want to work with a broker that they trust and have that relationship with. But there will be a percentage of each category that are going to try the new thing, and that's okay. Don't worry about that. Just really keep your focus on your own operation, your own agents, and what you have to offer, because the more attention you give to your own operation, the more successful you will be in the long run.
Awesome.
At least that's my
Build your own house, right? Exactly.
All right. So that just kind of leads to my final words of advice to brokers is let the change inspire you and motivate you to create new ways of doing business and taking your business to the next level. Be the disruptor in your marketplace. Be the one that they're like, hey, like how dare they do that? Because it's kind of fun when you are the disruptor a little bit, because everybody's like, hey, like, what are they doing? That's not fair.
What's Judy doing? She's always up to something. Right?
Yeah, really. Yeah, they're always up to something. Just be that broker. Like, don't worry about being the disruptor. Be the disruptor.
Exactly.
And because a disruptor simply means that everybody in your marketplace has to suddenly up their game because of what you're doing, and that's not a bad thing.
That's not a bad thing.
Yeah, and we actually only have 3 spots open for our recruiters retreat in Geneva in October, so that's filled up really fast. But because there's been so many brokers out there that just said, look, I got to up my game. I need to come back. I need to really fine tune my skills. We created a program for dealing with disruptors in today's market. It's completely focused on your skill development for any market, and it's completely based on your tools and learning how to present them in a way that has value. So we do still have an opportunity for a few brokers to sign up for that. We have a lot of our brokers that we've trained over the years coming back to just fine-tune their skills, and we have some new brokers that are looking to get into the market that want to make sure they get into the right way. So you can go to our website, check that out if you have any questions, or give us a call. Here are the flyers that are in your kit. Okay, they're right there on the platform. Julie, I'll let you tell them how to do that. But look at this. You see all the flyers there at the bottom where you get those little faces, and then off to the side? That's where you put your proof. So at the top, these are all customizable. It's going to be what are the compelling reasons to join your company? What is the specific information that you provide that does it better in the middle? And putting at the bottom. Look how great they look. So
I think you've got another one that's got a close-up look to them.
Do I? Oh, there we go. Look at that.
Perfect.
And
we created these in PowerPoint, so you can go in and make changes anytime you want. You can add a new. Obviously, you add your logo, your information, your agent testimonial. So it's great because it's easy for you to pop that right in, have them printed out on a nice glossy stock, put them in a nice custom-made folder, and there you go. You have an easy way to share the compelling reasons that your company has to join your firm.
Good. Yeah, it just couldn't be easier, and they look beautiful, and you can create your own too. Because again, brokers like agents, right?
Brokers can do it for them, right?
Brokers run companies, so I suddenly said, okay, I keep telling the brokers to create their visuals with the evidence and the proof on it, but no one's doing it because they do what they do best, which is running their company. And they need marketing people to do that stuff too. But because you're a member of the Profitable Recruiter program, we created them for you. And make sure that again, the emails, we love all the testimonials, success stories that we're getting every week, from your recruits saying they love that message on Mondays. It's a positioning message, and remember that. So in recruiting, there's 2 types of marketing that you have to do. One is to educate agents about who you are and what you're doing. But if that agent that you're trying to recruit is perfectly happy where they're at right now, they are not doing anything. They are not reading your stuff because they have no interest in it. But they will read a motivational message that not only can have an impact on them, but that they can share with their clients and customers, even though they don't work with you. And that's why we write those motivational messages in such a way that they appeal to everyone. They are not real estate specific. They're people specific. And that's called a positioning tool. And one of the most important things you can do in recruiting is stay positioned with that recruit until they're ready to make the move, because ultimately everybody moves. You just have to be there when they make that decision.
Exactly. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Judy. It was quite an informative session today. I know this disruptors have been on the minds of every broker right now. We do have a question, Nicole. Where are the flyers located? They are in the recruiter resource tab in your Profitable Recruiters platform. So thank you, everybody. I hope everybody's enjoyed today's session. It will be, once it's rendered, we will have it up on the site that you can watch and review. And everybody have a great day. Thanks so much, Judy.
Thank you, Julie, and thank you for joining us today. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.